Hello, everybody. It's 1 p.m. on a Saturday, better late than never, and this is the Comic Hall. I am your host, Dylan Lang, and I'd like to welcome you to this special Saturday edition of the Comic Hall. For those who don't know, the Comic Hall is my semi-weekly show, depending on my financial issues, where I discuss all the comics that I got this week and to try to convince everyone else out there to go to your comic stores and buy the same comics or discover something that you might like. Once again, these are just comics that I bought that I like. There are a bunch that have come out that I don't either read or have an interest in, but that doesn't mean that you guys don't. So I say this at the beginning of every one of my shows, and I say it at the end. I'm going to keep saying it till it builds up more. If you're interested in comic books, if you like the comic book movies, go to your local comic book store. Go to Comic Book Locator Service. They'll give you a listing of all the stores within a 30-mile radius of you. Check them out. You might not like all of them, but you know what? They're a lot different than they used to be. The old days, people used to think of them as dark, dank, hole-in-the-walls, where no one but weird-looking guys hang out at. Not anymore. Women have slowly become one of the highest-growing comic book reader followers, and so there's plenty of comics out there for women. Men are still, of course, up there as well, and there's also a ton of family-friendly ones. I've got a couple family-friendly ones in this week's Comic Haul. So I highly recommend find your local comic store, go to it. If you don't like that one, find another one. If you don't like that one, find another one, etc. and so on. If you like comics, I highly recommend check out and see what's going on. There's lots of ways you can catch up. As I said, my name is Dylan Lang. I do a weekly show on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. called Dylan Knows. This is a side job I do just for fun, because I'm a big comic fan and I like to talk comics, and I'm here by myself. My other shows, I have guest hosts that we discuss all kinds of things. I do have a comic show. The first Sunday of the month is my comic show, which was last week. Me and my co-host MJ Khan talk comics. This upcoming Sunday, tomorrow, is my list show with my co-host Gigi Fletcher, where we talk top 10, top 5, top 12, top 3, whatever lists, and we come up with a topic. This week's topic is government-themed movies and should be very interesting. I'm excited for it. The third Sunday in the month is my supernatural/paranormal show with my co-host Daphne Du. Talk about all things UFOs and ghosts and Bigfoots and crazy things like that. And my fourth Sunday of the month is my Dylan Knows International show with my Canadian co-host Bronwyn and a cast of 3 to 4 others who we just discuss topics of the day, whatever we feel like. So have fun. This is my comic call for this week, the week of July 9th was when the comics came out. Let's see that. Yep. And here we go. As always, I've divided up in DC, Marvel, and Independents. Independents are Image, IDW, Dark Horse, Boom Studios, any other independents out there, Dynamite that I get. I always start with DC, since DC is, as of now, still my preferred comic, even though Marvel is slowly dragging me in, so are the independents. But this week I have more DC than Marvel or Independence, so let's get started. A lot of good number ones this week, so if you are interested in going to comic store for the first time and want to know where to start with comics, there's a bunch of number ones. It's always the best place to start. It's number ones, just get in there and then you can gradually get yourself caught up. So let us begin. Recently, DC has been doing variant covers with a theme. Last month it was bombshell covers, where you've got the regular cover and then you've got the bombshell cover, which is one of the female characters from that series in a pose or a poster evocative of the old 1940s and 50s style posters. There's some good ones, and I showed them on previous hauls. This month is Batman's 75th anniversary. Well, actually, it was technically in May, but they're celebrating it this month with alternate variant covers where Batman joins with that comic. So if you have Superman, you've got the regular Superman cover, and then you have a variant cover where Superman and Batman are on the cover at the same time, drawn by different artists. This is going to be a continuing, ongoing thing. I don't know what some of the other ones are coming up, but I know of one in October, I believe, for Halloween. They're going to be doing monster ones. I've seen some of the art for them. There's some really, really good ones where your heroes of that book are done in monster format. So good example is they showed the Batman and Robin cover, and it was Batman and Robin as mummies, and that's fantastic. I'm going to buy that cover instead of probably the regular cover. So I think I only bought this week. I think I only bought one cover that had Batman on it, besides the Batman ones, obviously. One variant cover that had Batman on it, just because I liked it better than the actual cover. So let's begin. Speaking of Batman, Batman's partners, the Robins. The very first one was Dick Grayson. He went from being Robin to Nightwing to Batman to Nightwing again. And now, after the Forever Evil saga, he has been unmasked, revealed to the world as being Dick Grayson, so his life is no longer his. So they faked his death, and they created a new persona for him, and we find out all about it in Grayson #1. Basically, a lot of people are comparing it as the Bourne Identity, but with Dick Grayson, and he has all his memories. Basically, it's a spy book with Dick Grayson as the lead. It's written by Tim Seeley and Tom King, with artwork by Mikel Janin, who is fantastic, by the way. Tim Seeley is a pretty good artist on his own right. So let me see if I can get a good shot of some of Mikel Janin's artwork. Here we go. Here's some of the spy tropes. You've got gorgeous women, of course, and then let's see if we've got, here's Dick in action. So, there you go. So Mikel Janin's fantastic artist. It is a #1. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if you need to know what's going on with Dick Grayson, but you might want to check it out. It is a #1. It's got a pretty cool cover, and it does have a Batman variant, which I did not buy because I personally did not like it. I kind of like this cover better. So that's Grayson #1. Sticking with the Batman theme, and then I'm going to leave it and then come back to it. Batgirl #33. I love this cover better than the Batman variant, so I ended up buying it. Batgirl has made news this week. Gail Simone is the writer on this. And she's got a bunch of artists involved. Let's see, Fernando Passerian is pencils, and Jonathan Galopian and Matt Ryan are inks. And here's Batgirl punching out Huntress. Wow, that's not good. Batgirl's been big news. Gail Simone will be leaving the title this fall, and it's going to be they're going to be updating it to more modern times. New costume, which actually looks absolutely fantastic, and I believe it's a female artist is going to be taking on the role of artist with I believe it's a male writer, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it is. It's Cameron Stewart, and someone else is writing it, and I forget who the new artist is, but I've seen some of the pictures. It's on the internet. I retweeted some of it. Follow me at Holodill. I show all kinds of really cool comic stuff on Twitter. I'm actually excited for it. I think it looks good, but I'm going to miss Gail Simone because I love her Batgirl, and supposedly she's going to be working on a big book really soon. Maybe they're going to bring back the Secret Six, so we'll see. There's some racy artwork. Where's racy? Where's the racy? No, that's not racy. There's the Birds of Prey, and there's some racy stuff there. There we go. So Batgirl's been a pretty good series so far, and looks like Batman's going to make an appearance here at the end. So check it out. Batgirl's been an excellent story. They've been focusing a lot more on supernatural aspects recently, which I think has something to do with what's happening in Batman Eternal, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Here's the one and only Batman variant cover that I bought this week, only because I found the main cover to this issue kind of boring. Nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just kind of like this one better. One of my new favorite books, Justice League United, #3. It is known as Justice League Canada when it was first announced, but they switched it to Justice League United. It's a great team book. It's got Star Spangled Girl, Adam Strange, Martian Manhunter, Hawkman, Supergirl, Green Arrow, Animal Man in it, and Jeff Lemire, who's blocked me on Twitter for some reason, but oh well, that's okay. I still like his work. I'm still going to buy his book. Writes that he is Canadian. He's introducing a Canadian superhero who will be joining the group. Lobo is playing a major role in this. The new fancy Lobo, which I really do not like too much. Speaking of that, real quick, they announced this week that Lobo is going to get his own ongoing series, and it's going to be a fight between the old school Lobo, who I really, really like, and this new one, who I'm not a big fan of. So when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy that, but then they announced who the writer was, Cullen Bunn, who is fantastic at writing villains, so I was like, I might have to check this out. So that's not till October either. But Jeff Lemire's writer, Mike McCone's penciler, and the inkers are Cam Smith and Guillermo Ortega. I'm not going to show you the page I'm looking at because major cliffhanger ending if you follow at Charming Red on Twitter, who is the co-host of Kamagasti Hangout with two other ladies as well who talk comics, fantastic, Mondays, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You should check that out. She was very upset by the ending, and I can see why, so we'll see where this is going. But as of now, Mike McCone is a great artist for this. I love this book to death. Jeff Lemire is doing a great job writing it. Here's some Mike McCone artwork. Adam Strange has always been one of my favorites. I'm kind of like his new reboot, but I'm still on the fence about that. And there's Green Arrow and Supergirl and Martian Manhunter and Animal Man. This is the new Canadian superhero who I guess they'll be introducing more. They're gradually introducing her, but they'll probably bring her in more. But Jeff Lemire is from Canada, so he's going to be not taking it lightly. He's not going to write a cliched Canada. He's going to write a pretty good Canada. But this first series is Outer Space Born, so we'll see what happens. Just Like Unite is one of the best books out there on the shelves right now. This is issue number 3. It started with this is actually the 4th issue of the series. They start with a 0 issue. Go to your comic store. You might be able to find the first couple. My comic store always keeps about 2 or 3 months worth on the shelf if they have them before they put them into the back issue bins. So it's always a good place to pick them up. So I highly recommend Justice League United. It's a good book, and I will be discussing my love for Adam Strange sometime down the line on my Dylan Knows Comics show. But stay tuned because it's a good one. Sticking with the Universal theme, we've got Green Lantern Corps number 33. John is in there, so. John Stewart. This is the finale to the Uprising storyline. It's been going through not all of them. I think it's just Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, the only 2 that it's been going through. I don't think it was in New Guardians, or if it was just very briefly in New Guardians and Red Lanterns. But I think it was just through Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. But writer on this one is Van Jensen. Artist is Bernard Chang. Van Jensen co-writes another book that I absolutely love, The Flash, with Robert Venditti, who is the writer of Green Lantern. So you get 2 of them together co-writing The Flash, which is a phenomenal book on its own right. We'll talk about The Flash probably in a couple weeks when the new issue comes out. Or maybe not, because it comes out the week I'm on vacation. Uh-oh. That's not good. Yeah. Oh, well. But the Green Lantern Corps, the whole Green Lantern series was a tough act to follow after Jeff Johns and Peter Tomasi were on board, and Van Jensen and Robert Venditti have done a really, really good job of continuing how great the Green Lantern is. So this is the final issue of Uprising. You might be able to find the previous 5 issues as well. So go ahead and check that out. Good artwork by Bernard Chang. I think I showed you some of it. If not, I'll show you some more. It's pretty solid. Some good stuff. And the Green Lantern Corps, you get a whole bunch of different Green Lanterns. John Stewart is the main Green Lantern you look at, but it is the Corps, so you do follow other Green Lanterns as well. So very interesting. Highly recommend the Green Lanterns. They are doing a wonderful job with it. John Stewart is one of the best characters out there, so check that out. Next up is a book I'm still on the fence. I haven't read the first issue yet, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to hold on to it, but I figured I get issue 2 just to keep it up. It's Infinity Man and the Forever People number 2, written by Dan Didio and Keith Giffen. Actually, Keith Giffen did the artwork in the first issue, but Tom Grummett comes on for this issue with Scott Hanna. Tom Grummett's always been a good artist. It's a highly Kirby influenced, even though Giffen's more Kirby influenced than Grummett is, but you still get a little bit of a Kirby-esque quality to it. And the characters are all Kirby creations. I think this is going to play a major role in the future of the DC universe. This book is. That's why I'm sort of sticking with it. to see if that is in fact the case. So I'll see how much longer I can hold on to it, since financially I'm having issues. We get our first appearance of the Infinity Man, it looks like. So, it's Infinity Man and the Forever People, #2. All right, this next book. A little bit of history about it. Let me show you what it is first. This is New Suicide Squad #1. Suicide Squad first making its appearance back in the 80s, I believe. John Ostrander wrote it. His wife, Camille, before she passed, I think might have helped him write a little bit, but I think John was the main influence behind it. Suicide Squad came out after the DC crossover Legends, which was the first major crossover after Crisis that included the new DC universe as it was. Suicide Squad is a great idea. You take supervillains who are in jail and prison, you send them out on dangerous missions that they might not make it back from, but they could use their specific power to defeat the bad guy, but there's a possibility, as always, that you could die. And if you go out on these missions and you survive, they will cut your sentence lower and lower. So if you've been in there if you're in jail for 20 years and you go on this suicide mission with the Suicide Squad and you're successful, you come back alive, they may cut 5 years off, and then keep doing it until you either die or they decide to release you. And to keep you in line, they've put explosive bracelets on their arms so that if they think of turning against them or trying to escape, they will blow off the arms and they will die, bleed out, whatever. Concept is fantastic. It was great series. Had a couple of main characters in it: Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, and then you weaved in and out other supervillains. You killed some when you were trying to thin the amount of supervillains that were out there to make it dramatic. But it was jobs they could only do. So Suicide Squad was a big deal for a while. It was a long-running series, and then they canceled it. And then, as part of the New 52, it came back, and it was, in my opinion, was not very good. I don't know. I didn't like the writer, the art. I wasn't a big fan of it. And I did not like it, so I did not read it because they changed up Harley Quinn's costume to be more sexual, which is a shame because Harley's classic outfit is exactly what it is. It's classic, and you should have kept her in it, but I digress. And then I guess the Suicide Squad the New 52 Suicide Squad ran their distance, and then they canceled that, but then they came back with a new team, new creative team, I guess taking a book from Marvel. So that comes out this week. Looks like you got Deathstroke the Terminator, Black Manta, Joker's daughter, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Samantha Waller in the center there is the new Suicide Squad. It's written by Sean Ryan with art by Jeremy Roberts. There's Deadshot. I was not a big fan of Deadshot's new costume either, so there it is. But I mean, basically, it looks like that's the premise they're using: is supervillains who are used to go on missions and whose sentences could be cut in half or eliminated entirely for them to escape if they survive. Artwork looks good. We'll see how the story is. And we'll see how the characters are. But I figured it's a #1. I like the Suicide Squad. It's a new creative team, new artists. I said, why not? Let's try it. Let's take a look at it. So I highly recommend, if you can find it. In fact, I don't even know if they actually have any trades of these, but if you can find a classic Suicide Squad, that is how you write a fantastic espionage squad. It's the way John Ostrander did. And amazing series. Absolutely amazing series. And highly recommend if you can find it. But is it a possibility that this new one could be good? Yeah, I suppose. Sure, it could be. And it's a great premise. Also, I love the idea of the premise as well. So, all new Suicide Squad #1 out this week as well. Going back to Batman now. Detective Comics #33. the new creative team of Francis Manapul and what's his name, Brian Buccellato, is on part 4 of their first story arc called Icarus. They're trying to turn it more into a back into what it should be, Batman solo, being a detective, taking on more street level crime. You can use the supervillains in his rogues gallery in the Batman series. If you want, I mean, you can make him pop up in this, but detective, you need to have a little bit of a break so you can actually have him appear to be, what he is. He's the world's greatest detective. So we've got Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato are the storytellers, so they co-write it, and I believe Francis Manapul is the artist. So Detective Comics, the new creative team, it's been a pretty good story so far. It is more real crime based. Icarus is a drug that speeds up people's metabolisms and burns them out. It's pretty good cover design also. It's a very interesting cover design, and it's been fairly good. It's not my favorite, but it's still interesting to look at. And they started. This is the 4th issue of their sagas. Once again, if you go to your comic store, they might have the previous issues up on the wall. You can pick them up as well. I decided to save these last 2 for the end. Well, actually, there's 4, but I've said this every week because it's a weekly series. DC has 2 weekly comics out now. They know how to do weeklies. They've been doing weeklies for a really, really long time. They've got 2 weekly series out, and so the newest issues of them are out this week. First up is Batman Eternal, number 14. Another pretty good cover. Penguin, Bloody, and Batman Shadow. I think that's Jock is the artist on that, so that looks fantastic. These weekly books have a team of writers, and this one's no different. This one is story by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, the script by James Tynion IV, contributing writers Ray Fawkes, John Layman, and Tim Seeley. New artists, I mean, sometimes they might do a couple issues in a row, or they might do a couple issues and then take a break and then come back 3 or 4 issues later. In this case, Jason Fabak, who did the first 2 issues of Batman Eternal, maybe the first 3 actually, if you think about it, has come back. He's got good stuff. I like his dark, brooding stuff. It's very dark, realistic. Batman Eternal, I'm still, as I say every week, I haven't had a chance to get caught up, but from what I've seen so far, of what I've read of the series, I have enjoyed it immensely. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and it's an interesting story, and so we also, it is Batman, but also it focuses on some of Batman's team. It's got Red Robin is in this issue. Batgirl has shown up in this issue. We're going to see Stephanie Brown as a spoiler. She's been a continuing role in that. Catwoman has been an appearance in this as well because her character is about ready to get changed drastically also. So it's a game-changing series in the Batman universe, and I highly recommend everybody should get caught up on it and read it. My comic store has all 14 issues ready and willing to go, so if you haven't gotten it yet, well, you can't go to my comic store. I'm just saying, with weekly comics, sometimes you got to keep out all of them. So go to your store. You might be able to find all 14 issues of them out and about. Highly recommended. I got to get caught up. Hopefully, next couple weeks, maybe my vacation, I'll be able to get caught up a little bit more. Now, the other weekly we have is Future's End, number 10. Came out this week. Once again, has a big team of writers. Oh, they're pretty big writers too. I mean, it's I think the creative team's in the back here. Writers Brian Azzarello, Jeff Lemire, Dan Jurgens, Keith Giffen, pencilers Aaron Lopresti, and inkers Art Thibbert. Aaron Lopresti and Art Thibbert together is a great combination. Artwork is really nice looking, this series takes place 5 years in the future, and we're trying to get caught up. Like that Superman right now has got a mask on, so we don't know if that's Clark Kent or if it's someone else's Superman. We don't know, and maybe that's one of the mysteries we'll find out eventually. But they say it's been focusing more on the lesser characters, the B characters, because the main characters so far have been Amethyst and Firestorm and the Atom and Red Robin, and Hawkman makes an appearance in this. Um, and let's see, Superman's made an appearance also, and then there's a couple other people as well. So it looks like Big Bard is in this one. So interesting. So they're bringing up a lot of characters you haven't seen before, and Batman Beyond has come back from the far future to come back. Frankenstein's been involved as well. So different characters than you're used to seeing. So check that out. Those are weekly. Now the last two, one of them is an old book that came out last week, which I didn't pick up till this week, and then the other book is one that came out this week. I haven't been a big fan of the Superman reboot from the New 52 from 3 years ago, but they're starting to get themselves back on track now. Greg Pak and Aaron Kuder are on Action, and that's really interesting. I've been collecting Action again because I've heard really good things about the team, and I haven't read any of the books yet. It's on my list to read them as well. Superman just started with the new creative team of Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. I read the first issue of their run. It's fantastic. I love it. Superman, Wonder Woman, even though I am going to keep saying this, I'm not a big fan of the two of them together in a relationship, but Charles Soule is writing the hell out of the book, and he's doing a great job. Tony Daniels, the usual artist, but he's jumping onto the Deathstroke the Terminator regular series later this year, so he might be getting off of that book soon. So, you know, Superman is starting to come back a little bit, and they have a new series, a event series is going on just through the Superman books, with the exception of Superman, which Jeff Johns is writing a completely different story that's not a part of this, but it's called Superman Doomed, and it's been a series of chapters. Every month is a different chapter. This month, the chapter title is called Super Doom. The premise behind it is that Superman fought Doomsday, and something happened, and Superman is slowly turning into Doomsday. So, Action Comics number 33 from last week is part 1 of the Super Doom story. Greg Pak and Aaron Kuder on the story and artwork. Greg Pak is doing a really good job of writing this book, and they're bringing in aspects of the Death of Superman saga as well as the reign of the Supermen. So I might be their retelling of the Death of Superman, and Supergirl makes an appearance in this issue as in her Red Lantern persona. So pretty good. So this was last week. So once again, this still might be available at your store. This was from last week, but I had to get caught up, so I bought Action Comics 33. This week, part 2 is in Superman Wonder Woman, number 10. Nice cover on that one. Looks like a female Brainiac. Charles Soule writing the hell out of it. Art is by Paulo Siqueira and Pascal Alix, with inks by Pascal Alix. Tony Daniels either left the book or is taking a break and will be back. There's female Brainiac. So that's pretty good. Here's Paulo's version of Wonder Woman. And oh, here's a good spread right here. So, Superman, Wonder Woman, once again, not a fan of their relationship, but we'll see where it goes. I will be reading this. I've got every issue of the Doom storyline, so hopefully I'll get caught up that way. So, you know, if you were turned off by Superman like I was, you might want to think about going back and taking a look at what he's doing now. You may or may not like it. As of now, I've been hearing good stuff about it, and I kind of like it. So that's it for DC. So yeah, that was my DC pile. So that's a lot of stuff. So the haul's now going to go a little quicker because I don't have a lot of Marvel or Independence. But the one Marvel I do have that is huge, well, I have more than one, but the one that I'm really, really excited about, the one I've been waiting for this to come out, Spider-Man 2099 number 1. A little history about Spider-Man 2099. This came out, the original series came out, I think, back in the 80s or 90s, where Marvel was trying to do a separate series of books that was set in the future of the Marvel Universe, and you know, Spider-Man 2099, and they got, they had this one. They had, I think, there was X-Men 2099. There was Ravage 2099, which was written by Stan Lee, I believe, at the time, and Punisher 2099, I think. And then they brought in a bunch of other ones, and gradually the series, much like what Marvel has been happening before, the imprint got too big and the sales started dropping, so they just decided to get rid of the entire universe. But recently, Dan Slott has returned Spider-Man 2099 back to continuity because it's such an awesome costume, and he got really popular that they decided to give him his own book. Now, what's very special about this book is when this book came out back first in the 1980s, early 90s, the writer of it was one of my favorite writers, Peter David, who is still writing comics now. So when they wanted to do the reboot, who they get? That's right, Peter David. So Peter David has come back to one of the characters that he helped create, and there it is. Peter David is writer of Spider-Man 2099. I'm okay with the artwork by Will Sliney, but I loved Rick Leonardi, whose artwork graced the original 2099. I wish he was doing it, but there's probably reasons why he isn't. But, let's take a look at Sliney's stuff. It's not too bad. It's a good view of Spider-Man 2099. And you got Peter David writing it, so bringing his snark and his excellent writing style to this series, to a character that he helped create and who I think he still truly loves, is very good. So highly, 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 highly recommend picking up Spider-Man 2099 #1. It's an excellent character, a very different character, and the fact that you got the original writer to come back and write him again is, in my book, fan-freaking-tastic. As I said, Marvel's been surprising me lately. This book surprised me how much I really, really like it. Nightcrawler #4. Chris Claremont, who is famous for his X-Men run, 20+ years on the X-Men, the definitive X-Men writer, if you want to, comes back to Nightcrawler. Has been writing a really, really fun, adventurous book like Nightcrawler should be, and Todd Nook's artwork is perfectly suited for this fun type of comic that you expect from Nightcrawler. And Claremont he's told a pretty easy, clear story. Don't need a lot of background. He's done a pretty good job. Great artwork, great fun. Nightcrawler is one of my favorite characters, and I'm so happy to see him in his own book, and the fact that it is so fantastic. So if you thought, it's Nightcrawler, another mutant book, why should I pick it up? Pick up Nightcrawler. It is amazing. It is one of my favorite books right now. It is one of the only ones that I'm actually up to date on. So there are a lot of books I'm not up to date on. Nightcrawler is one of the ones that I am up to date on. I haven't read any of these. I've been dying to read them, but I just haven't found the time to. But my lovely wife, Dawn Snarks, she's caught up on all this. Captain Marvel #5. Kelly Sue DeConnick, fantastic female writer. David Lopez, fantastic artist in his own right. Great character. And Carol Danvers as the new Captain Marvel. Love this artwork. And taking her away from Earth and making her more of a interstellar traveler. Scope of brilliance. Fantastic. I really do need to get caught up. This is another one of those series that everybody tells me how great it is. And I can't wait to see it. I love this. See, this is just how great the art is. The filter on it, because this planet has this yellowish-orange hue, every page has this yellowish-orange hue on it when it takes place in on this planet. So that's just, it's keen eyesight like that, to that. And Kelly Sue DeConnick is writing a really good book. She's been on Captain Marvel for a long time. David Lopez is, I think, the absolute perfect artist for it right now. So Captain Marvel is a strong female character, written by a female writer, and it's a lot of fun, and is very powerful, is not a weakling, is never in, distress, someone needs to tell me. She figures her own way out to solve her own problems and uses her powers perfectly. She's a fantastic superhero. My wife absolutely loves the series. devours every issue when I give it to her. So she's probably the best person to talk to you about this. But I do have all the issues, and I am going to read them eventually. I promise I will read them. Daredevil, number 5. Mark Waid continues to write a really good Daredevil. Chris Samney continues to draw a really good Daredevil. And new status quo, where he's out in San Francisco, gives it a bit of a an interesting change of pace. Here's some Chris Samney for you. Just very good artwork, reminiscent of some of the old 60s style artwork. Mark Waid is a fantastic writer. He's writing an excellent story with Daredevil. Cannot recommend Daredevil any higher than that. Get it, read it, devour the previous series Mark Waid wrote, and now this new one also. Last week I went off on a rant about this. I'm not going to do it because I'm running out of time and I've already done it. But once again, I do not like this numbering Marvel. I might just make it a mini-series if that's what you want to do, instead of making it Amazing Spider-Man 1.3, which is a terrible numbering system. That doesn't mean it's a terrible book. Dan Slott writing a story from Spider-Man's past, which I'm assuming is going to play a big role in the future Spider-Man storyline, and Ramon Perez is the artist. This looks like it might be the final issue of it. The Clash seems to be the villain that he's been dealing with this 3-part mini-series or whatever you want to call it, and I'm sure he's going to make it life heck for Spider-Man down the line. Once again, kind of old school 60s style artwork to it, and fantastic. Dan Slott's writing a really good Spider-Man, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for his upcoming Spider-Man crossover, where every single Spider-Man in existence is going to come on the scene. I've seen some of the other preview artwork and some of just the great stuff that's going on out there, and I'm really excited for it. And Spider-Man 2099, no doubt, is going to play a big part in that as well. So if this is still going on when it comes out, you'll be hearing me yelling and screaming about how great it is. So you may as well get caught up on Spider-Man now. He's on issue 3, I think, is coming up at the end of the month also, and now's a good time to pick up on it. So that's my Marvel, short Marvel group, but that's okay. Now my independents. I've talked about how there's a lot of family-friendly books out there. IDW has slowly become one of the best family-friendly comic imprints out there, and I have special pride in my heart for IDW, for I used to be their brand manager when I worked at Diamond Comics. This is before they got huge, which they are now. But they are mostly known for their licensing. They've done a lot of really good licensing stuff and picked up a lot of stuff. They do Real Ghostbusters, they do Judge Dredd, they do Star Trek, they do Doctor Who, they do can't think, Popeye, Mars Attacks, and then they started going back to the old style 90s cartoons. They've got the Samurai Jack license, they've got the Powerpuff Girls license, they've got Dexter's Laboratory license, all of them family friendly comics. The Littlest Pet Shop is another one that they've got, which my daughter loves their series. My son adores this series, and to be honest, I've read the first 2 issues, and I am blown away by how great this series is. It's Angry Birds comics. Yes, Angry Birds, the same birds from the video game, the highly popular video game that you may or may not still be playing on your smartphone or your video consoles. This comic is all ages, and it's amazing. It is funny, great artwork, and you've got great artists and writers. Jeff Parker, who writes modern-day comics for Marvel, Dynamite, stuff like that, is one of the writers. Paul Tobin, who I think does some regular comic work as well, is one of the writers. Francois Cortegiana, who I've never heard of before, but his story was great. Artwork is, there's 3 different stories in each one, and Audrey Bussy and Isa Python, Giorgio Cavazzano, and Paco Rodriguez are the artists. And I cannot stress how good the series is. My son, we read my son the first issue of this, we read to my son every freaking night. Last night I read the first issue to my daughter, and then my son wanted to reread it again because he read this last night. My daughter read this last night. I love this book. I love this series. It is funny. It is great. Gorgeous artwork. Just hilarious stuff. And if you're Angry Birds fans, yes, they talk, but it's worth it because you get distinct characters for these people, and it's such great. The third story in this is called Piggyland, and it's a takeoff of Disneyland. It is one of the funniest stories I have ever read, and I cannot stress enough. Pick up Angry Birds comics. This is issue 2. You should be able to find issue 1 and 2 and just devour them. Your kids will love them. You will love them. Amazing stuff. And I cannot. I'm good. I took this out of my son's room. He's going to want it back tonight, so I got to put it back there. So, Angry Birds comics, get them. Fantastic, great stories, great artwork, wonderful for all ages. Another fantastic all ages book, Lumberjanes from Boom Studios. Boom Studios. This is Lumberjanes number 4. It's about the Lumberjanes are like a type of Girl Scouts crew, but they deal with supernatural villains. This issue actually looks like they're taking on the Boy Scout versions in the Lumberjanes world. But it is a supernatural aspect. There's Bigfoots and Sasquatches in this one, and weird-looking demonic chipmunks or alien chipmunks. So I read the first 3 issues of this to my daughter. She absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to read this to her either. What's great about this is my daughter's name is Noelle. It's written by Noelle Stevenson, spelled the exact same way, and Grace Ellis with art by Brooke Allen. So might be a little intense for kids, but you know what? I think they can handle it. And I'm gonna see if they have it in this issue also. Yes, they do. Every issue has a playlist that one of the characters talks about that might help you enjoy the you can play it while you're reading the issue. We're talking about Gravity Falls theme song. We're talking Summertime by Audra McDonald. We're talking Just a Girl by No Doubt. I'm Beginning to See the Light by Ella Fitzgerald. So it's a Spice Up Your Life by Spice Girls. So it's a combination of all kinds of different artists. Don't Stop Believing's in this one as well. I can't see. Is there any? They cut out after 14 because of the way they did it. It's intense. It's intentional, but it goes to like 20 tracks. So it is such a great series, and there's some really, really cool songs that they pick out for it, and it's a great series, and I'm very happy. I think this is fantastic. And then I just saw this. This looks like this might be another good one for kids. Teen Dog is coming in September. That looks awesome. It really does, because you can it's family friendly, sure. But you know what? It's all ages, which means someone my age could like it, and kids could like it also. So pick up Lumberjanes, pick up Teen Dog when it comes out. I'm going to pick up Teen Dog, I think. Yeah, it's weird, but you know what? Yeah, so what? Angry Birds. Pick up Angry Birds also. Pick up Lumberjanes also. I didn't bring it down, but I also bought my daughter DC's. Has some all ages stuff as well. I showed you Tiny Titans last week, which is another buy it now, run out there, buy Tiny Titans. That's out there now. They also have the rights to Scooby-Doo. So they have a Scooby-Doo comic, and they've just created a Scooby-Doo team-up comic, just like they did the cartoons back in the 70s where they teamed up with the Harlem Globetrotters and Don Knotts and Batman and Robin and stuff like that. Well, they're doing a comic of that. And my daughter saw an ad for Scooby-Doo team-up with Wonder Woman, so I bought her the most recent issue that came out last week. But I didn't bring that down because I don't know why I didn't bring it down. I should have. It was last week. I know I brought out Action Comics, but I had to because I was talking about that. So the final independent comic this week, and then I'll be out of your hair. is another #1, creator owned, from Top Cow, which is a imprint of Image. It's Death Vigil #1 by Stephen Sedgwick. Stephen Sedgwick is most well known for his teaming up with Ron Mars on Witchblade, which was a phenomenal run on Witchblade, and his artwork was very almost not computer generated, but it was very stylistic. And I was expecting the same thing when I picked up Death Vigil #1. Stephen Sedgwick is more. He can change his style to suit himself. This is not at all like his style from Witchblade, which is good because it's a completely different story. And this one appears to be Stephen Sedgwick's love, because look at the credits. Stephen Sedgwick creator, Stephen Sedgwick story and art, covered by Stephen Sedgwick. His wife wrote a new book, which I wanted to pick up, but my my local comic store sold out quickly. But it looks like a demonic, evil, supernatural type of villainy type of thing. I believe it's creator owned by Stephen Sedgwick. Yeah, Stephen Sedgwick's Art Reserve. So, Death Vigil #1. Pick up something different. It's supernatural. It's, who knows? There's all kinds of really cool stuff. Great artwork. Stephen Sedgwick is, not a bad writer on his own right. The one thing I am disappointed in, but once again, it's because I didn't buy my comics till Friday. I should have expected it. But Justin Jordan, who is writing the New Guardians, Green Lantern New Guardians for DC, he has a new book out called Spread, which I was dying to see. My store was sold out, so hopefully they'll get some more in next week, and I'll be able to show you it next week. So go to your comic store. Maybe they'll have an issue of Spread. If they do, send it to me. Buy me one and send it to me because you love me. So I think that's it for the comic haul. It was a good episode. Everything worked out good. My new Wi-Fi system works good, so it means I'll be able to do a new episode of Dylan Knows tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon, I should say, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Time, I should say now. List show with Gigi Fletcher, the top 10 government-themed movies. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's some good stuff on there. If you feel bad about what your government's doing now, these movies might bring you back to liking the government again. It's possible. So, on that note, just going to say this again, my usual spiel at the end. Comics are for everyone. There's a shirt that Charming Red, one of the ladies from Comicosity Hangout, has been pushing that I'm going to buy really, really soon. Comics are for everyone. They're for men. They're for women. They're for children. Just got to find the right one. You don't want to give the children a graphic horror sex romp. But as I said, they've got Angry Birds, and they also have Lumberjanes, and just Tiny Titans, and a whole ton. Adventure Time is another good one from Boom Studios. Charlie Brown, they have a Peanuts one who does that one? Is that Boom also? That might be Boom also. Popeye, IDW does Popeye. They do, as I said earlier, Little's Pet Shop, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, so on and so forth. So, all ages. There are all ages comics out there. There are superhero comics out there. There are high drama comics out there. There are supernatural comics out there. There are science fiction comics out there. There are creator-owned comics out there, which are insane. There are licensed comics out there. Everything you can think of probably has a comic out there. Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Judge Dredd. Sleepy Hollow's got one coming up in the fall. Licenses are a big deal, and Angry Birds. Licenses are a big deal, and you get some good comics and good ways to advance stuff going on. Apparently, IDW is going to be doing a huge Doctor Who comic push at the end of August, just in time for the new season of Doctor Who to come on. So I might actually, since I'm getting back into Doctor Who, that might actually be one that I might jump into myself. So we'll see about that. But comics are for everyone. If you're interested in comics, if you want to just see what's out there, there's no harm in going in and looking. You may find something you like. I've shown you different types of artwork, all kinds of writers. Females, women are beginning to rise in the comic division. People are starting to focus that women are a good source to buy comics to keep the comics from going, because it's hard to get new comic readers in nowadays with your computers and your wife your pads and your smartphones and all that. It's hard to get young people into comics nowadays. The people who are pretty much keeping the industry alive are the boomers who've been reading it since they were kids. But we can't do it alone. We need more people to come in. That's why these all ages, like Angry Birds, are good for kids to come in and get stuff in there. And then the movies that are out there now, all the Marvel movies, the DC ones, they're trying to find all kinds of independent movies, or independent comic company movies are starting to get made. It's a renaissance in comic movies, and they're popular. They're hugely popular. So if you like those movies, if you like Captain America, if you like the Avengers, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is coming up in August, on August 1st, if you like DC, if you like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all that, go to your comic store, find out what's going on with those characters. It's not going to hurt you. If you don't like it, you don't like it. End of story. That's fine. You don't have to. But you may find something that you really, really like. Take a look at the artwork. That's what the comic stores do. The books are just sitting there in their racks. You can pick them up, and you can leaf through them. I kind of like the artwork in this. Maybe pick it up. And number one, if you feel like I can't jump on to something because I don't know continuity, that's okay. But there's new creative teams all the time. The best writers of comics, they will introduce you to the new characters so that you have an idea of what's going on and who they are. And you really should go in and check it out. No harm done. You may find something you really, really like. And comic book stores are not just comics anymore. There's graphic novels, there's gaming, there's action figures, there's bobbleheads, there's T-shirts, there's just a whole. There's shot glasses, there's coffee mugs, there's baseball cards. Just everything you can think of is in most comic book stores. Not every one, but you can find those big ones. I happen to be lucky that I'm in a comic store that has everything in it. And it's bright, it's clean, the people know what they're talking about, they're very friendly, it's a cool place to hang out. I see women in there all the time, I see kids in there all the time looking around, and the excitement in their eyes when they see a character they like, it's just amazing. So go to Comic Shop Locator Service, go to your search engine and type in Comic Shop Locator Service, CSLS. And just type in your zip code. I think when you come up to their website, it'll give you a listing of like all the stores within 30 miles of you. I'm lucky I've got a bunch around me, and you never know. Go in. It's a whole new world there, and comics are for everyone. So please check it out. I think I've talked enough. If I can't convince you to go in, I'm never going to be able to convince you. Hopefully, I will have a new episode of the Comic Call for you on Wednesday. We shall see how finances are, because I have to pay my mortgage this week, so we'll see if we have enough money to cover comics, or I might have to wait till Friday. We'll see, but keep an eye out for it. It should be pretty interesting. So, just like that, I just lost my only viewer, and now I'm getting ready to shut off too. Angry Birds Comics. Pick it up. This has been the Comic Call. Pick up some comics. Enjoy. Hope you found something you liked. And watch Dylan Knows tomorrow at 12:30 for a great show, top 10 government-themed movies. So, for Dylan Lang, this is Dylan Lang saying, bye, Angry Birds.